Hey Dance Fam, it's Shatay here with The Working Dancer, and welcome to our next episode of Soul Talk. And I am extremely excited to have Luam in the house. And if you haven't heard of her, you need to crawl from up under the rock that you're living under and get a clue, okay? Because she has worked with some amazing artists. She's an internationally known choreographer, and she has worked with Alicia Keys and Janelle Monae, just to name a few. Hi, Luam. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you so much for being up at the crack of dawn to talk with us on Soul Talk. I really appreciate it. And I know the listeners are excited as well. So how are you? How are things?
Great. I mean,
Living the dream, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think dreams are constantly evolving, so always living towards a new dream, right?
Absolutely. Amen to that, honey. All right, so let's just jump right into it. So when and how did you get into dance? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, actually, I didn't really get into dance until after college. I'd always grew up with this incredible love for it, but it was always sort of a daydream in my head from since I was a little girl. And, like in high school, I did like drill team and stuff with my friends and things like that. But it wasn't until after college that I kind of had the freedom to do what I wanted to do for the first time. Education is very important to me. So I definitely was pursuing that, but at the same time, still being creative, like art and different types of art have always been prevalent in my life, whether it's music and actual art. But dance was just kind of a secret love.
Oh, nice.
It's funny because, I was pre-med, I was doing technology. I had this whole other route planned. And then when I got to New York and I was working in corporate America and I had free time after work. So then I literally just immersed in the dance world in New York. And it took over my life in a way that was like addictive. Like I was a new addiction, to go to class, to train, to do this, to do whatever I could to perform. And, when you put that much time and effort into something, it just continues to manifest. And that's kind of how I got started.
I love that. I did not know that about you. We have that in common, and I went to college as well on the pre-med track. And that's really just because, my family was like, don't major in dance. I danced my whole life. And I think they had, their intentions were pure. They didn't really know about professional dance as a lifestyle. But that's interesting. I didn't know we had that in common. And then I graduated from college and was like, you know what, I'm going to be a dancer. And
that's smart. I always say that too. I always say don't major in dance because you can, or not say that it's bad or anything. It's just you don't have to.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So might as well develop, what other sort of consciousness and, skills that you can have in life so you can use it for your career.
I love that. Where'd you go to college, if you don't mind me asking?
I went to University of Pennsylvania in Philly.
Nice. I love that. I love that about you. That's awesome. So then you didn't really know that, it was always a secret thing, like you said, and you kind of immersed yourself into the dance scene in New York. So then at what point were you like, okay, maybe this is sort of a career? Like when did it start to shift from corporate America being, your livelihood to kind of moving into dance?
Well, it kind of took over for me, so I didn't have a choice.
Nice.
Well, basically, the company I was working at, it went through a merger, and they were like laying off whole departments. It was crazy. So, eventually after 3.5 years, I got like a severance package, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take this time before grad school. I'll apply to grad school and just dance for a little bit, That's the free time right now. And I just never went back. There was no aha moment. There was no okay, I swore to myself, I'm going back. I lied to myself for so long until I was on stage somewhere and I was like, Luam, come on, give it up. You're here. Just accept it, And it's beyond a great thing. It's definitely, it's purposeful, And
Absolutely.
Once I realized that all the work that I was putting into dance, because for me, I can't do anything halfway. Even if I didn't acknowledge that was my career path at the moment, I was still doing literally everything I could to achieve, the most that I could with it, because that's just kind of like the gene that I had with throughout my whole life, whether it's academics, whether it's anything, if you're not going to do it 1,000,000%, it's just not really worth doing, you know?
Right. I agree.
So, eventually after a couple years, I was like, Luam, it's okay. Just tell yourself, because as far as the world knew, I was pursuing dance, but for me and my family, I had a different idea in mind. And it wasn't until I was like, literally, God was like, okay, come on.
Right.
Just accept what I'm showing you, and let's be partners in this, as opposed to me trying to like yank you out of everything.
Amen. You better preach this morning, girl. Wait, so I love that. So then what was the backlash with your family, or was there any, or were they like, okay, go for it?
Well, I'm East African. I was born in Eritrea, and culturally it's extremely important to me. So, education is paramount. My mom, she came here as a single mother. Like, we escaped wars. Like, we went through so much. So for her, I wanted to be a doctor. Not even she was. I mean, she lucked out. But she would have wanted that for me too. So that's something that I was passionate about for a very long time. So to flip the script, it was devastating. And I understand why. And I wasn't even mad. I was like, I know, I'm sorry. I get it. So I understood. It just there was no sort of cultural parallel that could qualify that success,
Yeah.
and especially because I was a broke dancer and hustling and moving for so many years. It doesn't come overnight. It's beyond overnight. In fact, you have to expect it you can't be working towards that. You have to be working towards the art and the process, because if you work towards the goal, then you're literally going to stop there, or it's going to take longer. You know what I mean? So by immersing in the process, I didn't really have an answer for her, like, this is what's going to come of it. Right. I was just like, I'm learning what's happening and what's possible as I'm going along, because, for me, no one had taken the path that I'd taken before, that I'd ever seen. So literally it was uncharted territory, even in the world of dance, I think, with YouTube and all of that. So, there was no reassurances I could give her or myself.
Right.
So for a long time, it was really, really hard. But I understood, and I had those same concerns for myself, But it wasn't until like many, many years later, and, I had directed Alicia Keys' world tour, and the first city was Seattle, which is where my family lives, which is crazy. I'm like, okay, well, let's go. And I was able to bring my parents to the show, front row, like this whole amazing thing. And they're like, holy crap, you did this? I'm like, yeah. And, and I'm watching the end of the show. Her last song is New York, Empire. And I'm checking them out in the front, and my mom's like trying to sing the words. I'm like, I'm dancing. I'm like, what is going on? And
That's
then
incredible.
Literally, as Alicia's walking off stage, I grab my parents and literally walk them back. So they just saw her on stage, and we're going back, and she's coming off stage, and she greets them and just talks to them, and they're just like, this is crazy. And I'm like, I know, this is it.
Right.
And I think they understood, the magnitude of what I'd been working towards, and just like, it was something that was measurable, I think was important for them. Yeah. It's not just it's fulfilling, I'm glad you're happy, but how can we measure the success? And that's usually the concern of parents.
Right. I think you just said a mouthful, and I want to backtrack really quickly because there's something I think we should really zero in on. First thing, though, completely understand about family backlash. There were tears. There were lots of things when I told my family, hey, I'm not going to do this. Had done MCAT, had done applications and all that stuff. And then when I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to be a performer, guess what, I'm going to pack up and move to LA. There was just like not really any understanding in that moment. There were tears. There were, you could have, gone to school in town, in state, if you wanted to do all of that. I don't understand, and I don't know how to help you with that, was really the main concern. My family was like, I don't know what to do with that dream. I don't know how to help you. I don't know anyone in that field. I feel like you're on your own. So I think that was a fear for them as well. So that's really interesting. But what's really important that she said, I think, is that you said you have to work towards the process and not towards the goal. And I think that's incredibly mature. I think if I had thought that way in my 20s, my life might have turned out a little different. But how did you know to even think that? Or was that just something spiritual? I mean, how at a young age do you know to even be that way?
I don't know. I think it's just like anything when you fall in love with it, you just are consumed by it.
Right.
So and that's what it's not about knowing, oh, this is what I'm doing. It's just recognizing, oh, that's how I felt.
Mm. Okay.
Because it's really when you love what you do, you want to be able to show it and have measurable moments of success. Oh, look what I accomplished. Oh, I really want to get that so that it shows. But that's not the only reason. Like you're
Okay.
still the next day, no matter what happens, no matter what failures that you can expect and go through. You're gonna be there the very next morning, still working at it, and that shows that okay. Even if you look forward to these markers of success, you're really in it for the process.
Mm.
And I think that I just feel like you're in the right place of what you're doing in life when, for artists, I think, and also for really anybody. I heard this somewhere and I'm like, that's exactly it. Artists retire not when they're older, but when they have no more art left in them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like when you don't have anything more that you want to do with it, then it's time to let it go.
Right. Nothing left to give. Right.
Yeah, or if you're not really doing it because of what's inside of you that you have to get out, then some reevaluation, or maybe just you have to fall back in love with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think it's just recognizing that the process is literally, if you love the process, everything else will come. It's really been a complete walk of faith.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. Love that. I need to put that like in bold, in caps all over the site because it's so important. And I talk to so many dancers who are just frustrated. Like they're used to things coming easy to them, and then they get out in the real world, and then they have to do this hustle, and they have to deal with rejection, and then they're like, but wait, I'm a good dancer. Like what's going on? And then they're just anxious and frustrated and just kind of living in that space. And so we spend some time talking about, trying to be present in the moment, trying to be your best self and all of that. But I think what you just said really just hit the nail on the head. I really like that.
Well, I also want to say with that is that, and I talk about this a lot in rock the industry, but expect that. Yeah. Expect the frustration. Expect I went through that too. Like that shows that you're in good company. You're on the right path. You're on the, you know what I mean? You're feeling the similar things that people along this path feel.
All right.
That's to be expected. Just know that it's a part of the process.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? And just, you got to transcend it, and you got to make sure that you kind of look forward to what you're supposed to gain from that moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, the lessons that it has to teach, the wisdom that you get, the character that you build, right? I love that. Okay, so then back to your career. So you're in New York. You just start taking classes. Is there like something that you did first, kind of get, you just
jumped in the class. Like I was like, how do I do this? What do I do? Where do I go? I even started my first classes were at a gym. It was like New York Sports Club. And it was with someone who was actually became a really good friend of mine, Cheryl Murakami.
Okay, nice.
Many, many years ago. And then, taking her hip hop class, or her street jazz classes. And then I found Broadway Dance Center, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's more. Okay, let me go. You know what I mean? It's wherever I could find it. It was just literally immersing, not just in the classes, but in the community. Because it's really about the community that you're in that's really going to propel you forward. Because, and I tell people all the time, they're like, so how do I get a job? I'm like, well, already you're not going to get one like that. First of all, you should be wanting to train, and let's see how great I can get. That's the question you should be asking. How great I can get, and then how can I be visible doing it? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's really a part of immersing the community, and that's what I did. Like I trained hard, and I just made myself kind of like visible to the people that I looked up to as teachers or whoever, that I thought, was really talented. And I was like, okay, well, I should be around them and absorb whatever, they have to offer, and they can see me, they can fix me, they can, or they can like want to use me in a showcase, and then that can turn into something else. And, it's like, you just got to immerse in the community and follow the clues, because it's all breadcrumbs.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. So then do you feel like, what was like maybe your first job, or when I ask this question, people say they don't feel like they had a big break. So I'm going to try to revamp that question and say, was there a job or an experience that made you feel like, okay, now I'm kind of here, I'm in the right place, or I'm on the right path, or something could happen? Is there a moment
I
like that
think
for you?
there's different markers in your career that dictate different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
My first job was hilarious because it was like the VMAs with Ludacris ages ago when I was in corporate. And, like all these dancers, when they chose me to go on top of a bus with Ludacris, the
Nice.
DTV bus, and they rolled into, with Radio City,
Uh-huh.
To roll out and then halfway in front of my office. All my coworkers were there like in shock, like, oh my God, she's on top of this bus. You know what I mean? I was doing IT, it was real conservative, and they were loving it though. It was hilarious. I was like, okay, something's got to give.
Right.
This can't work together.
Your worlds are colliding right there.
They're colliding. Mm-hmm. So that was a moment I was like, I love this. This is a high. I can't imagine. I need more of this. And I worked for years. As a dancer, and I was developing my choreography and teaching. And then many, many years later, like I had developed a following because of YouTube. I was the first choreographer on YouTube, and then I left YouTube later. But, for a while, that's where a lot of my momentum within the dance community, not because the industry wasn't checking for YouTube. Mm-hmm. You didn't matter unless you were in, you knew the A&Rs, you knew the artists, you were in backstage. Like that's, right. You had to build up you had to deserve to be in those spaces, mm-hmm. So for years, I worked with a lot of international artists because they'd see my work online and they would fly me. So I choreographed arena tours, stadium tours, and all this, but I hadn't broken into the U.S. Mm. You know what I mean? Artist-wise, I'd done new artists here and there. I had Rihanna early, and that was big. But it's really a career in choreography is about consistency to me. It's not about this job or that job, but having and having clients. Mm-hmm. Right. Not just having a moment, but really building relationships. So because of your body of work and your comfort, and people want to feel like they're in good hands. So right. I hadn't built that yet here. And for me, my kind of break for that in the U.S. industry in a major way, because to me, it's really about what's memorable, mm-hmm. Creating things that people remember as iconic moments within dance mm-hmm. or performance. And for me, I would say Kelly Rowland Motivation and mm-hmm. Beyonce Run the World. Mm-hmm. The beginning part. That was for me sort of a big break in a way, because it validated. I had been doing it for over a decade, mm-hmm. And it was a manifestation of not just a lot of experience, but a lot of faith, and I didn't know it's things that come out of nowhere, mm-hmm. literally came out of nowhere. And not to say that it wouldn't have happened any other way. It was just that's at that moment in my life is where I was mentally ready to take on that type of work. And I was tested really, really hard right before, spiritually, and I feel like I passed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of a sudden after that, it was Britney. And then after that, it started, sort of a catalyst of
right.
work, and it entered into a new season for me. And that was really when I felt completely not overwhelmed, but like I had literally walked into a new room.
New experience in your life, right?
Yeah, and I felt like the door had been open for a while.
Nice.
So it wasn't a room that was uncomfortable, it was familiar somehow. So, for me, that was definitely kind of a break.
I love that. You said a couple of things I just want to repeat so that they could get this. It took you a while, right? So you said you had been doing this for years. And then when you were ready, spiritually, not even because we all think we're ready. At every moment, we all think we're ready. We've put in the work. We all somehow feel like we're deserving. But when you were actually ready and have been tested spiritually, then those things just kind of opened up for you when you felt like you were ready. So I think that's key, and that's something, really important that we should zero in on. I love it. I just feel like you're so wise, and I think it's important that, dancers hear other dancers speaking this way, living this way, so that they know, one, that they're normal, they're human, and that, if we keep the right mindset, that, everything's all right. Like, just chill out. You'll get there. You'll be where you need to be.
Yeah.
Just let your life run its course. Be in your season. Be where you're supposed to be when you're there. Be where you are. That's what I'm trying to say? Right. Okay. So then, what do you feel like has been your biggest obstacle career-wise?
It's hard to say. I can't really I can't really accept the word obstacle, only because the things that have been difficult to, sort of navigate career-wise, I realized after the fact were necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So, things like, breaking into the network of the industry, or, getting into those rooms and getting in touch with those people, because it's really about your connections and people's comfort and familiarity and respect for your work.
Mm-hmm.
That's difficult because there's no handbook, there's no guide. You don't. It's not math. It's not any other type of schooling where if you do this, you'll get this. No,
right.
No. It's very ambiguous. It's very organic, and it's very. It's again a walk of faith. So the difficulty is me being a planner.
Yeah.
Or like if I do this, I got plan A, plan B, plan C, this and that, and it wasn't going according to plan. And I was like, what the heck? And for so long, I was like, it's unfair. It's just unfair.
Yes.
And it wasn't until after I realized, I was like, young grasshopper. If you thought it was unfair, you weren't ready for it.
Amen. Yes. Yes. Aha moment, teachable moment. Yes. Love that. Say that again, honey. Say it.
If you thought it was unfair, you were not ready.
Yes. We could just stop right there. She has preached the whole sermon, like close the doors, give a benediction, let's go home. Yes. That right there. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I love that.
And that doesn't even make sense until you go through it, and with the program, Rock the Industry that I started, I say so much. I say a ton. They leave the weekend like, what's going on? But it's not until they go through, whatever different things they go through, they're like, oh my God, that exactly what, was said. And I get it now, and it's just letting people make their mistakes so they can come to these conclusions, you can't really believe anything unless it comes from yourself. Yeah. Can hear someone and you can, keep it in the arsenal, keep it in your thoughts, but you really aren't convicted or understand something until you kind of arrive at it. So, that statement of if you think it's unfair, then you weren't ready. It's like, you'll get it when you get it.
Yeah.
And then you'll look back and you'll be like, man, I thought it was unfair and I didn't even realize that's how it was supposed to be. Yep. You know what I mean? Or that's just how it is, and I wasn't ready to handle it.
Right.
And that's just that realization. So in terms of obstacles, in retrospect, whatever obstacles I thought there were, I understand so much better now, and I'm prepared for new ones. I'm way more flexible. Now I'm like, oh, I expect this and this and this and that. Mm-hmm. Oh, I expect that. That's part of the package of doing what you love, which is, come on, it's like, if you get to do what you love, get paid for it, get to travel, get to meet amazing people, there's gotta be a con.
Yeah, that's true.
There's be a price to that, and the price to that is that it's not always going to come in the way that you prefer it. It's always going to challenge your heart, your spirit, your integrity, your self-worth. It's going to challenge all of those things, Yeah. So, but you got to expect that, and you got to expect that in this particular industry, people are more human than anything.
Yeah.
Meaning, with humanity comes everyone's faults or insecurities are amplified on 1,000. Mm-hmm. And you have to navigate that,
Yeah.
And my job as, choreographer or creative director or this or whatever it is at the moment, my job isn't really managing the vision, it's managing people.
Say that again. Right.
No matter what you think you want to do,
right?
You got to be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
And that's really, figuring out how to do that. So it's a lot.
I love that. This is great. And even not just for my listeners, like this is just really nice conversation to be engaged in. Okay, so we're winding down. So tell us about, you've already mentioned Rock the Industry. So can you tell us about the program, how it came about, and then how dancers can be involved?
So Rock the Industry was sort of like a long time brainchild of mine that was born a couple years ago in 2014. And, for a long time I wanted to do something like this, but for years. And basically, but I didn't do it until recently, because then I was who I needed to be,
right,
to be able to give the right information from, experience, from, just it's real. It's very real. And basically what it is, it's split between actual dance training and career and development training.
Nice.
And there's also a component of like spirit as well. So it's mind, body, spirit.
Right.
You talk about purpose and values and really in a very active way, figuring out how to navigate yourself through the industry and what you can do to keep yourself intact,
Right.
So the body side of it, the training isn't just like, oh, let's how to, just work on lines, work on this. No, it's very real. And without giving it away, it's like very much on the job type of training. So I'm going to treat you as if you're this is the professional capacity. So there's so much more. And I say it in all my classes, the steps are nothing. Like steps don't matter. What matters is what you do with it. And then when you're on the job, there's a million other factors going on that you have to process and execute as a dancer that you haven't even thought of yet, And it's really working under those conditions that it trains you for. And also, we delve into personal finance, we delve into investing, we delve into marketing, social media, networking, like all those things that you don't really get to talk about on the business side of dance, because at the end of the day, you're your own empire.
Yep.
Who's running it? You ain't
You
running
are.
it.
Right.
You're just going to be living from job to job as opposed to creating a career.
Right.
So, and even if you're successful, you're going to be living from job to job, instead of creating a career. And, the way that I break it up is because there's so much information to impart. I break it up into 4 weekends. There's freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So that's why it's like Rock the Industry University.
Nice.
And freshman is kind of a lot. And then sophomore, you can't take the next one until you've experienced and processed and applied from the weekend before. So some people, waited months. Some people waited a year or two before going to the next one. Like it requires that because each weekend is extremely different and requires the next elevation.
Right.
So it's not about relearning because I just wanted to keep from giving so much and you'll just forget it.
Right.
But this forces you to apply it in your career and actually one of the beautiful things that's happened is it's created a community of alumni who are accountable to each other. So, it's one thing to kind of learn these things on your own, but it's another to share it with others and then them check you. They see that you know what you should be doing,
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's really important to have a sustainable growth and sustainable career. So Rock the Industry is something that, I feel extremely passionate about. And it's kind of, I can't talk about it too much detail wise because then it gives away the experience. But I will say it's definitely unforgettable. And I'm having another session in New York this October 14th through 16th. And applications are open for submission now. You have to apply and submit videos and an application to be considered to be accepted.
Nice.
So I think there's a few more days left if people want to submit. And that's pretty much it. And rocktheindustryonline.com also has information on Rock the Industry as a whole because in addition to the Rock U, which is what I call the Rock Industry University, the weekends, I also do one-day dance intensives.
Nice.
That's more open, invitation come. And that's more focused on just the dancing.
Okay.
And I'm also going to be starting seminars soon where it's literally just the talking portion. And it's been hugely successful. Like the alumni have done some really incredible things and not just, on stage, with all these amazing artists, but also off stage, like 60% of them now have IRAs, have gotten out of debt, and like all this stuff.
Love that.
It's really amazing to see the quality of life sort of raise with their own, hard work.
Yes, I love that. So if dancers go to rocktheindustry.com, they can
rocktheindustryonline.com.
rocktheindustryonline.com, they can get an application for the weekend, like the university sessions, the weekends that you were talking about, and information about seminars, and then when you have like your pop-up workshops is there as well. Nice. I love that. So how else can they connect with you? And I just want to say, you said you don't have your YouTube channel anymore? Or you?
Well, I do.
Okay.
I do. It's just Maybe that's a whole nother conversation. But when people started coming to class or to where I was teaching and they said, is this going to be on YouTube? Then I stopped posting so much because I felt it was important not to have people so focused on what was online and coming just to be
seen,
too famous, you know? So a few years ago, I was like, I'm going to focus on being relevant in the industry. I'm going to earn the rooms that I'm in now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my success as a choreographer to be completely determined by my online following. I want it to sort of like, for my own, you know, edification, just really go through a different process. So, but I still have my channel, and I recently started posting videos again, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm on there. It's just, you know, it hasn't been my career focus, but I think it's important to continue sharing.
Yeah.
But I'm also on Instagram, and I do probably share a lot more there. And it's Luamky, Luamky.
Okay.
Pretty much that's my username for everything.
Okay.
Twitter, Luamky. Okay. Snapchat, Luamky. You know, Perfect. So they can find me anywhere they can find that handle.
Okay. We will post those handles for the audience so they can get in touch. But also, I was first introduced to your work from YouTube videos, and this, you know, was years ago, I'm sure. But I was always so taken by your style. Just not even your style of movement as in how you're crafting the movement, but like your swag. I feel like it's overused, so I'm trying not to use swag anymore. But just your whole aura is just so... Yes, honey. I was like, yes, that girl has swag. She's fly, you know? So I've always really admired your work, and I just think it's incredibly wonderful. And what I think is even more incredible is that you have such an awesome, pure, authentic personality and nature and spirit that is just so engaging even across, you know, technology. So I think you're a very well-rounded, wonderful person, if that makes anything. It's random to say, but it is. So I really appreciate that. So dancers, rocktheindustryonline.com. Do you recall offhand the date, the deadline for submission?
Soon. Go today.
Right. So get on that ASAP because you don't want to miss out on this incredible opportunity to learn from Luam. Hello, that should be enough. But on top of all of that, you're getting all of this inside information, all of this wisdom that I believe is just priceless. The value is just immeasurable in my opinion. So definitely jump on that. Thank you so much, Luam, for giving us this few minutes of your time. I know how incredibly busy you are, but I know that this will go long ways and it'll have rippling effects throughout the industry for however long it's supposed to. Yeah. So thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure as well. Thank you.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.